I'm on deck the Silversides right now. You can probably hear the engine. They started it just a few minutes ago. The engine room is actually right below us. I can feel the rumbling on my feet, and we'll give you a look to the side here. If you're young enough, all you've ever really known of the Lower Hill District is all these parking lots. But 70 years ago, this area was filled with hundreds of homes and businesses before the city demolished them to make room for the Civic Arena. Grand Haven public safety officers have confirmed that 18-year-old Isaiah Edmond of Ohio did drown here just a couple of hours ago. Now, we should note that authorities did not recommend swimming at all today just based on the water conditions. Pat Jones is someone who's been in the public eye here in Muskegon. Not only did she run for mayor of Muskegon Heights back in 2023, but she also ran for Muskegon County Commission in 2018. Calls from President Trump to revoke the temporary protected status of Somali immigrants and calls to re-examine the green cards of Somalis already here in the U.S. Somali population is under a lot of scrutiny. And because it's 20 degrees outside, a lot of the water has actually turned into ice. And if you look across the street, you'll see the sidewalk is completely covered in that ice now. A whole bunch of them. And you can also see just how many of these plants are here behind me. A lot of them native to Africa. Chris doesn't know exactly how he fell into the wastewater pool. He does point out that, first of all, there are no lights out here. And second, this wall is pretty low to the ground, coming up only to about my knee. Where you're actually catching your flights is still the same. And this will probably look a little familiar. They're doing some work here to polish it up a little bit. Yeah, Julia, not a whole lot of change right now, but if it means anything to you and the viewers, it's more change than we've seen for a lot of the day. So I've been here since around 2 p.m. I'm Lance Wilhelm in for Lauren Baker. 13 on Your Side Late Night starts right now. Just into our newsroom within the past half hour, Muskegon Township Police have confirmed at 13 on Your Side that a motorcyclist has been killed in a crash east of Muskegon. Hopefully it doesn't ruin anyone's beach day. Colton Woods is here with us for another weather update. Hi again, Colton. Now to a developing story in Berrien County. Deputies are investigating a homicide in Niles, and now we're learning the victim and suspect were in a relationship. A West Michigan woman is sharing a unique form of therapy with senior citizens. You've heard of therapy dogs or maybe even therapy horses, but what about therapy chickens? 13 on Your Side's Aaron Sullivan looks at healing hens and shows us this alternative therapy.
We begin tonight with the story of a Hudsonville High School graduate shot a number of times while at football camp in Birmingham, Alabama. Doctors say Ethan Carter defied the odds, taking 7 bullets and survived. 13 on Your Side's Lance Wilhelm spoke with him today as he is traveling back to West Michigan with his mother.
Former Hudsonville High School linebacker Ethan Carter is used to taking hits.
It's like every parent's worst nightmare, I think.
But none like this.
And it almost felt like someone had threw really hard knockout punches at me, and it just felt like and then I seen a little bit of blood pouring down and stuff, so that was what I was like, oh dang, I actually got shot.
Carter was shot at 24 times on Saturday from just 5 feet away. 7 of those bullets hitting him in his hands, arm, chest, neck, and his head.
They said there's never before have we ever seen anybody that's somebody's came up, shot somebody at 5 feet away, and it hasn't gone into their, penetrated them anywhere vitally.
Carter committed to play football at Davenport University after graduating from Hudsonville this past year. He was in Birmingham, Alabama to train, something he's done since 8th grade. An avid gun collector, he connected with someone online to purchase a gun, something he now regrets even though it is legal in Alabama. That's when the person he thought he was purchasing from shot at him and robbed him. Carter sprinted out of his car to safety.
Well, there were actually neighbors across the street, and they were actually come here, they were trying to help me out, and I fell on the grass, and I ran over to them.
The suspect then burned his car, leaving nothing but metal. Birmingham is notorious for its high crime activity. Over the years, Ethan, who by all accounts is an upstanding young man, says he became friends with people who were in the wrong crowd. It's unclear whether that is connected to the shooting, but for now, he says he's just glad to be alive.
I'm just thankful for God about the whole situation, that I'm fine, and that even though it was a dark path, I know that I can trust in God, and that'll help me through things.
If you're young enough, all you've ever really known of the Lower Hill District is all these parking lots. But 70 years ago, this area was filled with hundreds of homes and businesses before the city demolished them to make room for the Civic Arena. The Pittsburgh Penguins had since promised to redevelop these 28 acres with projects like the First National Bank building and this new concert venue going up behind me. But the vast majority of this land is still just a sea of parking lots. Now, with the Penn's redevelopment rights expired, the Lower Hill enters a new era of potential change.
You can look back and see the bulldozers, the dust.
The memories are vivid for artist Carlos F. Peterson.
I remember walking from Lexi School back home, and the dust on walking to my doorway was thick, powdery, like baby powder.
He watched his neighborhood razed to rubble from the roof of his childhood home, seen in this sketch of his.
But our house was about right here.
Peterson and his family were some of the roughly 8,000 Lower Hill residents whose homes were demolished in the 1950s.
There were stores all the way up through here. All that's gone. I mean, that was part of the economic part of the neighborhood. It's done.
Once a bustling neighborhood, Pittsburgh labeled hundreds of homes and businesses in the Lower Hill district as slums, leveling them to make room for the Civic Arena, the former home of the Pittsburgh Penguins.
It was part of that growing up that got broken away. It got chipped away, right? Literally demolished.
Now in his 70s, Peterson dedicated a life's worth of artwork, drawings, photos, and sculptures to illustrating the pain he felt when the city decimated the Lower Hill for the Civic Arena's construction.
You could call it a curse. They have to be able to put that stuff down on paper. You're not just drawing it to make a pretty picture. You're drawing from memory, you're drawing from experience, you're drawing from whatever hurt and pain there was, even what joy there was.
And it wasn't only homes that were lost. The Hill was the cultural seed of Pittsburgh, home to historic jazz clubs, the stop for top musicians between New York and Chicago. But that scene faded when the Lower Hill was destroyed.
I hate to say gutted it, but I'm sure it just cut it so it didn't seem to exist, kind of, you know what I mean? It erased it.
The Civic Arena was demolished in 2012, and since 2007, the Pittsburgh Penguins had the sole redevelopment rights for the Lower Hill.
But a lot of what we're doing as an organization is to reinvest in the city and rebuild this neighborhood.
The Penguins promise to right some of the wrongs of the 1950s displacement.
The community is absolutely right to feel frustrated, to be upset at the Pens and at all of us as a collective, to be quite frank, because there have been promises made, promises not necessarily kept.
But 70 years since the Lower Hill's destruction, and after nearly 20 years of the Penguins pledging new developments, most of which never ended up happening, the vast majority of the 28 acres is still just a sea of parking lots.
I think they made a lot of money off of a parking lot and did not fulfill all the goals and objectives that we were worked on and that we were hoping to fulfill.
Now, with the Penn's development rights expiring just a couple months ago, the Lower Hill enters a new era of potential change in the hands of city government.
That's what it once looked like, where the Lower Hill District went straight into downtown.
Councilman Daniel Lavelle, who represents the Hill District, wants the Lower Hill to go back to serving the community it was taken from as soon as possible.
All the wrongs of the past cannot be righted. Like, we have to acknowledge that. Every sin that happened will not be fixed in this one development. But we certainly can do as much as possible to ensure that whatever development occurs in a way that is equitable, occurs in a way that is beneficial to Hill District residents, to the African American community, and to the city at large.
Lavelle expects action on the site within 2 years, but even with growing hope for what's next for the Lower Hill.
This was here. I remember this building, right, before they tore it down.
Peterson wants his art to remind future generations of what once was.
I'm hoping that they would see that there was people with feelings lived there. That's what I want people to understand. It's for them to see.
Pittsburgh's Action News 4 reached out to the Penguins for an interview for this story. They gave me this statement. The Penguins remain committed to the vision for inclusive development in the Lower Hill and are proud of the meaningful progress achieved in recent years with community leaders despite challenging economic circumstances. Following the expiration of the option agreement, the organization will stay engaged in the city's plans for the area and continue to be a collaborative partner in advancing future development. Development rights now revert back to the Urban Redevelopment Authority and Sports Exhibition Authority, both arms of city government. Covering Allegheny County from the Hill District, Lance Wilhelm, Pittsburgh's Action News 4.
I pulled up upon about 10 unidentified men this week detaining the Hispanic men.
Sharon Smith spoke before a Kent County Board Commission meeting about her Tuesday arrest by Grand Rapids Police.
We know that Hispanic people are being targeted. It's been admitted that it was racial profiling, and this is just an evil, racist system.
She says she followed ICE officers to a federal office and blocked the officers from leaving using her car, an act of protest to protect those she sees as being targeted by ICE.
Where did those guys go?
GRPD Police Chief Eric Winstrom told us yesterday that the arrest was purely because Smith was blocking a public alleyway and refused to move, saying it had nothing to do with her protest.
Who are we making it a great place to be?
But Smith isn't the only one concerned for immigrant residents, as the Trump administration has expanded detention efforts.
Why the heck are you turning a blind eye to what ICE is doing in this community?
Lifelong Kent County resident Charlie Snydeker says the local government isn't doing enough to protect immigrants.
Consider the possibility of making Kent County a sanctuary county. It's not unheard of.
Some in Kent County are specifically concerned about what local law enforcement is or is not doing to help federal agents carry out deportations.
We are the biggest department in the county.
We sat down with Kent County Sheriff Michelle LaJoy Young to gain some clarity on the issue. She says that when someone is arrested for a criminal offense, so that doesn't include a civil offense like a traffic violation, the law requires that the person is identified and run through federal databases, including one with people of interest to ICE.
And in that context, we would contact ICE and say, okay, we have this person, what are your intentions? And we'll work the rest way through our process.
LaJoy Young says she understands the fear from the community during this tense time, but adds she is required to fulfill her duties under the law.
I can't make you a promise that I can't fulfill. What I can tell you is we only collect information that we absolutely have to do the work that we're doing.